Hello. Yeah, how are you? Yeah, I mean, Adam's coming back from injury, but feeling really good. Stewart's still injured, and Archie Gray. And then Pascal Stroyek picked up a little bit of an injury and won't be available for tomorrow. But we're hopeful that by Sunday he'll be available again. So we'll see how the next few days go.
How encouraged are you having, I mean, it's top of the league to bottom of the league in 4 or 5 days, but on the basis of how you played on Sunday, how encouraged are you that you can go to somewhere like Leicester? Different challenge, I appreciate, but to go there and get a result, because you need a win, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's how we feel. We feel that we've clearly made progress as a group. I've said a lot. I've sat here a lot and said we like our team, that we feel we have potential in this group. But it's been hard for us to pick up the points that often we feel that we've deserved. Often it comes in the form of not scoring enough goals, which helps you command the game more the way you would want to, not having enough leads. But we have to just stay strong in our belief and in our work and know that with the law of averages, or how that if we keep developing in this way, that eventually we're going to put ourselves in a position to be successful. So it's hard, like I've said a few times, but we have to stay positive and focused on the next match and make sure that we do everything we can now to fight for every single point.
What are you saying to the players during the week? Because you've come off the pitch, no matter how well you've played, you've lost. Yeah. And again, human nature, I'm sensing, must be that they're down a little bit, I would have thought. What are you saying to them during the week?
Well, I mean, I feel like after a match like that, they feel like they feel like they deserve more. Whose is that? It's Keith Webster.
Going so well then.
Oh, man. Do you guys have a fine system? You should maybe develop one amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to participate.
How much do you think?
I'll leave that to you guys, all right?
Where were we?
Where were we, man? Let's talk to Keith.
What are you saying to the players during the week before you get into it?
Yeah, no, so what I was saying is, obviously we walk away feeling gutted because we feel like we deserve more against such a good team. And my nature is to be positive, to look at things carefully and be realistic, but to remain positive. Sometimes you get tested in those ways because you can't help but feel the emotion of the letdown. But I think that performance continues to instill belief, even though it's not result-based. So yeah, that's why in order to really reinforce what's happening within our team, I think it's really important that we start finding ways to get more points.
And for you to be positive, yes, but how difficult is it for the players to stay positive?
I think they typically follow the lead of the leader or leaders in the club and in the team. I think in that sense, I have a really good connection with people like Andrea and Victor and Angus, and also with players like Coops and Luke. And, I just try to, get their feedback sometimes, but also reinforce the appropriate things with the group, but also with those two guys, and know that they're really important in terms of how we all react to things. So, and I can say that those two men are in our group are as strong and committed as ever.
Surprised to see Leicester where they are?
Yes, better than the last place team in the league for sure. They're good on the ball. They're very dangerous in transition moments. They've still scored a good number of goals, and then defensively they've given away a little bit too much. But I think going there and knowing that they got a positive result and having 2 matches at home and a chance to gather momentum in their season, we'd be very foolish to not expect them to be ready for a big performance. So we've talked about what we want the match to look like. We've talked about what to expect, and now we got to be able to execute tomorrow night.
Final one from me, technical area behaviour. It seems to be the big debate of the week. How conscious are you and how aware are you that you have to be, whenever possible, on your best behaviour?
Well, I'm glad that I'm not in that discussion this time.
Maybe next time.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I mean, Listen, I don't think any of us are proud when sometimes we have to be more emotional than we'd like to be, and certainly I think we all respect referees and we want to see them treated fairly. So, I mean, I think I try to do that. I try to have dialogue. I try to support the referees when I think they've done a good job. Even if I'm critical of them, I try to not make it accusatory. And I respect the work that they do and how important they are to the game. And yeah, of course, the decisions often dictate the fine line for a club like us, what success and failure is, but we have to live with that and accept that and focus on ourselves. And I think that's the most important thing that a manager can do.
Thank you.
Hi, Jesse. Jesse, just on the team news, Junior Firpo, is it going to be a straight swap for Pascal Struijk at this stage? And last night there was no Nonto or Gelhardt. Will they both be involved tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Either or?
No, Junior will start, so he will be ready. I think he's been patiently waiting and also trying to make sure that he's sharp and fit and strong so that when he gets called upon, he's ready to go. So I'm excited for him to have his opportunity now and to show that he's ready. And then yes, Willie will be with us, and Joffy and Sam and all, some of the guys that have done a little bit of double duty will be with us. And we knew it with a 3-game week, we used some of those 21s matches to keep them fit and strong and sharp. And now we're going to need them in this week to be ready for us.
I know it's 6 games without a win for you, Jesse, but Mark Rocker, we spoke to him yesterday, and he was his quote was, "We're 100% convinced it's coming. We've got total faith in what we're doing as a team and as a group." How much do you need to hear that to validate what you're doing?
I know that with our team. I appreciate that Mark says that, and a few of the guys have come out publicly very positive about a lot of things. But I know by what I see every day, by the work that I see from the group every day, that everybody's fully committed and the belief level is really high. But that's why the results become important. It's even less to do with where we are on the table and more just that we need that validation and we need that feeling of knowing that the work that we're doing is the right work and it's going to lead us to where we want to go. I know that. I'm based on my experiences in this business. I know that you can't focus too much on results, but that results always help breed positivity. So that's where we're at right now.
Really interesting that you mentioned post-match the other day that Brendan and Jack came to you when the team was playing well and asked if they could sort of switch roles. How often an occurrence is that, and how difficult is it to allow that to happen? Or maybe you were thinking of it anyway?
Well, this was a discussion during the week. And I try to get a big tenet of my leadership style is ownership and wanting the players to feel ownership and wanting them to give their opinions. Obviously, I have a job to do to make decisions, but like when I make decisions that maybe are against the way a player feels or are against him being in the lineup, or if they know what the process is and they believe in the way that I treat them and the way that I go about making the decisions, then they can even be satisfied and commit to it even if they don't entirely agree. So when those two come up to me at half, Brendan came up to me first. I said, "Go speak to Jack." Then Jack and Brendan came to me, and I said, and by the way, half times are pretty quick. You don't have all day to have discussions. But then I say, "Okay, Jack, what do you think? How do you feel?" And he said, "Yeah, I think it'd be good." And Brendan's reasoning was, "Yeah, maybe you can be in a little bit more 1v1 situations, and I can help press in the middle and close things down, and it can be beneficial for both of us and the team." And I said, "Great, let's do it." And I think then it was one of the things that helped in the second half for us really start to tilt the table. I think the tempo we played at the first half challenged them. I think that change, and I think Pat coming on the pitch made a big difference in the second half.
Yeah, and hopefully that momentum goes into tomorrow night, where obviously Leicester and the manager are under pressure clearly because of where they're on the table, but they also have about 6 players out, top scorer particularly. Do you think they are particularly vulnerable now?
I think they're dangerous, as what I always find when teams are a little desperate for points, and listen, Leicester's I think again played better than what their record is, but it means that sometimes it can be hard to predict exactly what their lineup might be, what the tactics might be, and what the performance might be. So we are expecting their absolute best, and we'd be foolish to think anything other than that. And when they are at their best, they're a very good team. So again, we've I think created a match plan that addresses what we want to be on the day and what we want to look at with what they are, and then again, I want them to go out and play brave and go for it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Jesse. Good afternoon. When you look at the recent performances, what do you think is missing, or potentially in which area you would like to see the biggest improvements?
Goals. We need more goals. We need more leads. We need to when we're on top of matches, we need to capitalize. I said that after the match, and I think everyone around here knows that that's where we are right now. And if we can start to add that to the mix, then we can have a really good team.
Could tomorrow be the ideal opportunity to get back to winning ways?
Yeah, I think the important thing is how to just continue to build. And what we don't want is to have a performance like Arsenal where we feel good about it and came away with nothing and think that that's enough. It should build hunger in us to go after the next game even more, and the next and the next and the next. So that's the focus right now, is to make sure there's no satisfied mentality, and that right now we're going to do whatever it takes to play well and to find results.
When a team is going through a long, difficult period without a win, how important is that emotional side, that emotional support for the players?
What's funny is I think our last win is a couple months ago, right? But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like the work has been really good. It feels like a lot of the performances haven't been complete, but have been solid. I feel like we're developing and growing. And then it's just the, I think, unforgiveness of what this league is. That sometimes doing everything right doesn't mean you get the result. And I feel like we're doing a lot of the things right. I feel like the concentration to improve and to be good and to win has been spot on. But the opponents are always also quite good.
The world of football is very competitive, but do you feel you have some sympathy for Brendan Rodgers and what he is going through at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, Brendan's an experienced manager. I don't know him that well, but we've had enough interaction at different moments. I think he's a good person. He always seems friendly enough and open enough and generous enough with his time. He's obviously coached at some big clubs and had big success along the way. I think, none of us sleep very well when we're not performing the way that we want, and that's the misery of this job, and the shared misery we have, the respect I think we have for each other in that way. So, but I have no doubt that he will be successful in the future, just like he has been in the past.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Jesse. The last time Patrick played at Leicester, he scored arguably the best goal of his Leeds career. At moments like this, do you want him thinking about all the times he's finished off moves brilliantly, or do you want him not thinking about goal scoring at all?
Well, of course, goal scorers, that's almost all they think about, right, is scoring goals. And I'm challenging Patrick to continue to grow into the type of striker that we need. And I've said for a couple of weeks now that we think he's a big part of the solution. And I've also said my experience of being around strikers is if they're not getting chances, it's much more concerning than if they're getting chances and not scoring. So he's getting chances in bunches, and his talent is so high that it's only a matter of time before those start to go his way. And when they do, then we could start to see a total change of momentum in him and for us. So that's the goal, is to help him, to challenge him to continue to move forward in a positive way, but to support him and let him know that it's close. So we believe that, he believes that, and I think Thursday could be a catalyst for that and for him for the rest of the season.
And how difficult is it to coach quick, direct football as soon as you win the ball in the final third without rushing the last bit? How do you coach that moment? Yeah,
I mean, I spoke with them a couple weeks ago, and I said, when I introduced 13 phrases when I first came, and they were counter-pressing, pressing, things like this. One of them is a phrase I use, 100 to 70, which is the ability to still play with tempo and speed, but in your head to slow yourself down so that you can see plays clearly, that you can make attacking plays, that you can still play with quality in the last third. And we're still, I asked them to run so much and to be so intensive that getting that balance right, we're still trying to develop that. However, I thought Arsenal was a fantastic display of our ability to win balls and then create big chances. It just wasn't enough to finish them off. So, I'm pleased with a lot of our attacking players, and I think in many ways they're playing well. It's just we got to help them now make the last step in finding more goals. So I believe in them though, totally, and I know we'll get there.
Hi Jesse. We've already discussed Rodrigo on Sunday and the mistake that he made. How do you manage a player when they come off the back of an error like that? We know he put out quite a thoughtful message on social media addressing it.
Oh, he did? Okay.
How have you managed it since Sunday?
Yeah, I spoke to him. I said the reason I took him out wasn't because of the mistake. It was because I felt like he was getting a little bit tired and not pressing in certain ways that we wanted. And then I felt like bringing on fresh legs. And that was the plan from the beginning with him and Patrick against Arsenal. And it was just, when do we do it? And so we decided to do it at half. But I was clear with Rodri that he's very important, that we need him, that him and Patrick will play together a lot, that we will, continue to try to create clarity in roles and help him continue to push, and he's been incredibly important and our most dangerous player. So he was good. He goes, I know. He goes, I'll be ready. And he's a real pro and he gets it.
You mentioned Luke earlier. We know he's been an incredibly important footballer at this club for many years and has quite rarely been out of the team. Right now he's fit and healthy and clearly wants to play. And I mentioned it the other day, but his contract, of course, is on the horizon. He knows he needs to play for his future. How hard is it managing somebody like that when they're such an important figure, but when they're not playing? Yeah,
I mean, my way of working with all the guys is to communicate clearly what the plans are and then what the next steps are for them to continue to grow and develop. And I think it's even more important when they're really important figures in the team. And certainly Luke is that for us. So I just have tried to communicate decisions. I've tried to communicate, what we need from him, for him to continue to be the example of how to handle difficulty with decision making from the manager. And I think he's done that really well, and to continue to be supportive of the group and to be ready to perform. That's the job, right? And I think he's done that at an incredibly high level, and he's going to get more and more playing time, I'm sure.
Just following on from that, Jesse, what does Luke need to do to get his place back? Because it's an unusual situation for him when he is fit not to be a regular starter.
Yeah, I think it's not really what does he need to do. It's more just that he needs to be ready, and there's in a person's career, the way this works is you never know what the next moment's going to look like, and you certainly need to be ready to seize that moment at any time. I don't need to tell Luke that. He's incredibly experienced and mature with who he is and how he deals with things. He's from day one I came here, he was always, so I bring up him and Coops all the time because they were the two most mature, complete, secure, sure leaders that I'd been around. I don't know how else to acknowledge how fortunate I am to have him in our group. And I still know he has a lot to offer from a playing perspective as well. It's not just about leadership; it's about the player he is. So he'll be ready. He'll be ready when called upon, and I'm sure that he'll do great, and he'll make a case for himself every day, like he does.
Just one on the big picture, Jesse. Do you sort of look at the league table and say, "Look, lads, we really need a win, or we're going to be in this relegation fight," or does that just cloud their thinking?
So. Obviously, there's always pressure, right? There's a lot of attention that's paid on this club and this league. And we know the responsibility that we have. I know the responsibility I have. Actually, this responsibility to help this team be successful is almost entirely my job. And I don't think of it that way. I think of it as a group project. But I don't want them to feel extra pressure about that we need an absolute result, must-win moment right now in our lives. It's more about continue the belief, do the extra little things, put even a little bit more into the preparation, into the work, focus a little bit harder, be a little bit smarter, be a little bit clearer. And that's the only way I know how to really get something clicking and moving in the right direction where the momentum then becomes more powerful than the work. And that's ultimately what we're driving towards. And I believe we're really close. We're on the cusp of that happening. And the goal is for Thursday to be a continuation of that moment.
With Junior Firpo, it's been pretty stop-start for him, and I think there is this question of whether he's suited to the league, whether he's good enough. It's been difficult to answer that question. What are you going to get from him long-term, do you think? What are you seeing in him?
Listen, I've heard criticisms of Junior from the past or whatever. I can only tell you that since I've been here, he has in every way tried to adapt and learn and grow into the player that I believe he can be. Because, for me, his technical ability and passing ability is one of the best on our team. His athleticism is definitely on the high end of our team. His intelligence is very high. And then his tactical awareness is also very keen, and I think if he can continue to add the right kind of aggressiveness, that he can grow into a real defender and be a real two-way player. And especially at left back, there's not a lot of those types of players out there in the world right now. So I'm just specifically with Junior, really trying to help him develop into the player that I believe he can come, and I believe he can be a big player here, no doubt. He has everything he needs. And his commitment to try to do that is at a really high level, even in a moment when Pascal's been playing so well and it's not been easy for him to accept just being on the bench. But he'll be ready for tomorrow. I'm sure of it. I am 100% sure of it, and I'm excited for him to be on the pitch. Yep.
Hi, Jesse.
Hi.
Yeah, the chief executive of the company behind the European Super League, he says that it could be up and running by 24-25 without closed membership. And I was just wondering if you'd have any views on that.
Yeah, so I think this first came up when I was in Salzburg. And I even remember then seeing the players walk out for the match with the T-shirts. What did it say? It said fair play or open play is fair play. I can't remember exactly what the T-shirt said, but I thought that was a big statement from Leeds United to have that. And I agreed. And in Salzburg, I said this, and I'll say it here. No one wants a league that's not about earning it and deserving it. And no one wants to see a league that's just given. I think already in our sport, the world is imbalanced, right? Okay, you could argue clubs like Manchester United and Real Madrid, and you could go down the list that over the years they've built in success, and that's helped them accumulate more and more interest and more value and more riches. But I'm an American. I come from American sports where parity is the most important thing to us. That at the start of the season, anyone can win. And then I was a coach in the Bundesliga where Bayern Munich made 30.5 times or spent 30.5 times the amount of Arminia Bielefeld. And it's a league where when you start, you say Bielefeld has 0 chance of winning the league and Bayern Munich has 75% of winning the league. That's not competition to me. And that's what I want to see. Is I want to see fairness. I want to see people have to earn whatever they deserve or deserve whatever they earn, whatever. And I think that any idea of the Super League is frankly totally ridiculous. Is that strong enough? Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, no.